welcome back to episode 4 of the Diamond Diary. I'm James Diamond, and today we're here with Nathalie Pavlides. So Nathalie fights out of STRIKEFORCE under Mark Peace here in Burleigh. Pro Muay Thai fighter, engineer by day, girl wonder herself, huh? And today our question to Nathalie is what does it take to be a female pro fighter and everything that you do? So do you want to give us a background of how you got into fighting?
Yes.
What's going on?
So I grew up in Sweden, so I'm not actually Australian. I sound Australian, but I'm not. My dad was a boxing trainer, so I started boxing when I was like really, really young.
Okay.
And so when we moved here, like I was continuously doing boxing, but I was turned like 18. I was like over it, since doing it when I was young. So I wanted to try something new. So started Muay Thai at STRIKEFORCE, and instantly knew like that's what I wanted to do again. Like fighting I want to continue fighting, but I want to do Muay Thai. So
8 limbs rather than 2.
Yeah. It was more exciting. I was excited to start something new. So it's been like 3 years now, 4 years in it, and love it every day. Like every day is something new. Every day
something new. So what have you accomplished in Muay Thai? Are you pro now, still in the AMs, or what's going on?
So Muay Thai is a bit weird, and especially for girls. There aren't that many girls, so the pro and amateur rankings, I believe, this is my personal opinion, is not, it's clear. Like in boxing, it's like super clear, like either you're amateur or you're pro. In Muay Thai, it's a bit, I think as soon as you fight with elbows, no elbow pads, that's when you're professional, because that's when it becomes dangerous. So I've had a lot of fights now without elbow pads or with elbows. So I do class myself as pro. Do I get paid a lot? Not at all. It's more of a passion. But
So then that perfectly segues into engineering. So studied engineering here on the coast?
Yeah. So I'm about to finish a double degree. I'm in my last semester, so business and engineering.
Oh, wow.
But I've been working as an engineer for like 4 years now.
Oh wow.
But that's my day job, because I would love Muay Thai to be my only income, but it's not realistic to think like that.
That's such a good approach to have, right? So many fighters and stuff say, I'll fight now, study later, where you've found the balancing act to study now and fight at the same time, right? Do you think that they have one's taken away from the other, or how have you dealt with balancing them?
I think when you have a professional career and then your fighting career, I feel like it's like, trying to balance it. Sometimes your work life, your professional life, family life, excels, and then sometimes your training goes down. That's just how it is. But then sometimes your training goes down, diet, you feel good, whatever, and then your social life and your training life, your professional life goes down. So it's always, I think, it's really hard to balance both. Like it is very hard to keep it even.
We've almost got that triangle, right, of professional life, social life, fighting life, right? Where I guess like fighters typically like social life gets the kick first, right? Okay, so just circling back to your dad being a boxing coach, was he boxing in Sweden?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he trained in a lot of Russian camps, and my brother is a professional boxer, so we both do it. So it's always been my family, We had like a pretty different childhood, training. But I think it shaped us into.
So your brother's just boxing?
Yeah,
just boxing.
So he's a very good boxer.
Have any disputes? Are you just leg kicking him?
Oh, I remember as a kid we used to just punch on so much. Like that's how we settled anything. Mum would come home and like, stop.
Get the ref in. Well, I guess you've been doing pro fights then. You weren't wearing elbow pads or anything back there?
No.
Not with your brother. So you've just been fighting pro for.
I think it turned into
years.
MMA at one point, but
It's very similar to MMA in the regard of and amateurs and pros. there's being really no difference, right? Like
No.
amateur MMA, it's the exact same. It's just kind of the quality, I guess. Like guys like myself, kind of just like, you know, have a few amateur fights and go, oh no, I'm an idiot. It's that chance to feed out the people that are taking it seriously or not. So one thing I wanted to explore with you too was obviously the difference between being male and female, right? A lot of males, especially being on the Gold Coast, just want to punch on all of the time, right? So how do you deal with having to, say, morning of fight day, you wake up and you're just, I guess everybody deals with this, but like you're just not in the mood, you don't have that aggression, you don't have that will or whatever. What's your approach in that situation?
Yeah, I think your mental game is like the strongest game you can do in anything. You know, obviously I do not feel like on point every day. Like waking up and wanting to train, or you know, that's not realistic. But I think you got to remember why you do it, because that brings back to, you know, the professional sense. You know, you're not getting big money out of it unless you know, Conor McGregor or something. You got to remember, like, why do I want to actually do this? You know, you're getting in the ring, getting punched up. Not for money, but for what? So I think it's important to draw back, you know, why do you do it? My values are different to what your values are, but it's always, I think, important to look back and be like, oh, well, I want to be a world champion. Well, I do it because I love it, you know.
So what is your why? What's your why? I just live and breathe Muay Thai. I wake up every morning and I just think about Muay Thai. Like, that's the first thing I think about. Every night I think about Muay Thai. It's my #1 priority. Like, it sounds crazy, but you know, I think it's my plan A. You know, you can't have a plan B when you do it, but it's what I want to do. It's my passion. Yeah. You're just in love with the art, so more of like a martial artist type approach to Muay Thai, rather than I'm going to have 5 fights, cash out, get a gory contract, rather than being falling. So morning of fight day, that's your why. That's you want to. Your why is it safe to say, like, you want to express Muay Thai the best that you can, I guess? Or
I think you know, it's a way for, you know, you do all this work and, you know, you put so much effort into diet, training, all that. It's your way to sort of perform. Like, it's like a dancer, you know, like you dance and you know, you practice your moves and all that, and then fight day or, you know, sparring day or whatever, that's the day you get to perform. Like, you know, it's the lights, the show, your friends are there, like, it's, you know, it's addicting.
Why do you think it? Why is it addicting to you?
It's a crazy question. I love the atmosphere. I love the feeling of getting into the ring. Like, I can't even explain the feeling, but only people who have fought know the feeling of finishing a fight, going in the ring, sealing the ring, looking at your trainers, looking at your friends, having all that support. Like, it's just crazy. Like,
it's that almost that feeling of like accomplishment, because it's if not the most intense thing you can do, top 3 at least in any form of life, right? With like one of the most intense things in my line of work is going to court, right? And litigating in front of a judge and stuff, right? And there's so much back work to that it's so satisfying to come to that, right? Where you literally, like you said, getting in a ring in front of your friends and your family, and the consequences of that is getting knocked out in front of your mum, you know? Nobody wants that, right? Like, so that I feel like it's such an intense and pure form of, not fear, but like,
it's a
overcoming the accomplishment, right?
It's like making a list in the morning of, you know, 5 tasks you have to do in a day, and you accomplish all those tasks. You feel good, right? But then you times that by 1,000,000. That's literally what it feels like. So I think that's what drives.
So have you, with accomplishment with intensity and stuff, have you ever gone through adrenaline dumps or anything like that?
Yeah. There's been, you know, I think this is what I said before, your mental game is so important. Obviously during a fight, it feels like the longest time of your life. There are moments where you kind of like lose focus and you definitely, you know, feel that dump where you go, oh shit, like why am I actually doing that? Especially if you get hurt, you know. If you get hurt, you have that split second, or I do as well, where I'm like, oh my God, this is actually happening, or what I'm doing. So that's definitely what you need to be strong at, just not think about that.
Or you pointed to your eyebrow. It got cut last fight. So did you have that, when you got cut, that kind of moment of, oh wow, I'm actually in a fight, not just reacting and being within the fight, you're kind of externally being like worrying about your eye or something like that?
I didn't even notice it until like I finished a round and everyone was like, oh my God. But I think it was a good learning point for me as well. Now I know I'm not untouchable. I need to, you know, keep my hands up. It's not as safe as it was in my mind. I had no fear, but it's not that I have fear, but now I know what it feels like. It's not that bad, but I don't want to be cut again. So it was a good learning experience, but definitely, you know, not thinking about that or not thinking about getting hurt is what you need to.
That's an interesting thought, right? Is a lot of the time in fighting where guys are going on these crazy runs and not even being touched, and then they get cut, they get touched, and then everybody's like, oh, we can beat them. Having that kind of concept within yourself of being like, I would imagine it kind of takes away that pressure. So a lot of fighting is pressure, right? It's a lot of like, I have to do well, but you've been cut, you're like, oh, I was cut. If you were hurt, you were hurt, and you still overcame and you still won. So in your mind, I guess on fight day, that kind of helps. You're like, I can still get it done, you know?
And that's, I think after, you know, getting cut, like it wasn't even that bad, but now when I reflect back on it, I'm like, you know what, it's actually, you need to enjoy it a little bit more. Whereas before I'm like, oh, I can't get touched, I can't, you know, get hurt, whatever. But now I'm like, oh, I got hurt. Doesn't really matter, it wasn't a big deal. Now you can actually enjoy it a little bit more. Focus,
changing the focus from a result focus to a performance focus.
Exactly, and that's draws back to why you do it. You know, that's your values, or that's my values anyway.
Painting the picture. That's amazing. So, Gold Coast based, like I said at the start, STRIKEFORCE, Burleigh based. Is that plan to stay in Burleigh? What are your plans for the future? What's want to fight on the Gold Coast local scene? What's going on?
I love the Gold Coast. I travelled half across the world to be here. I'm not leaving anytime soon. Obviously, there's more, you know, more gyms, more opportunities in the bigger cities. You know, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Perth. But I think, you know, Burleigh and Gold Coast is growing every day, like sport-wise. You know, we got CMBT and like you've got big centres, like especially fight sports centres opening up. A lot of boxing gyms, a lot of Muay Thai gyms. So the sport's growing, definitely. So, but
I think a lot of, sometimes people go, oh, I've got to get to the States for MMA and Muay Thai different. Like within from Burleigh to the highway, you've got Boonshu, you've got STRIKEFORCE, you've got Heartbreak. I think the boys are still around. Combat, you've got Southside Jiu-Jitsu, you've got like maybe total of 10, 15 gyms in a what 5k radius that are like John Wayne Powers at Boonshu, right? Mark Peace is here, like the world-class coaches and fighters and stuff right here, right? So you don't feel the need to get over to Bangkok to train or anything?
I want to go over to Bangkok to train. I think it's, you know, especially my sport to do. You know, STRIKEFORCE is a very authentic Muay Thai gym. You know, Mike Pease is very strong in his traditional values. So I think going over to Bangkok, training at a real, you know, a Muay Thai gym, you know, for a stint is important. Like I would love to. I'm waiting for COVID to end. But I trust my trainer. I trust my gym. I love it. It doesn't matter where it is, but that's why.
Mark's world class, right? Like no matter where you go, like if you get to that world class stage, like level, you're world class wherever you are. In the back of a gym, like, you know, the city kickboxing guys like sometimes train out of just like one of their coaches, I think his name is Twitch or Switch. They just train out of his garage, and they're world champions and stuff. So
Yeah.
I think there's a massive movement, and I think there will be there's opportunity for people like you to become world champions and expose yourself to the greater world over the next couple of years, right? So
Yeah, hopefully.
that's the plan, world champ.
Yeah, definitely. That's
Strap
the plan.
season, huh?
Yeah. You know, obviously, I think it's silly not to have like that type of goal, but you know, state champ, national champ, and a world champ. I might not make it, but I'm sure still going to try my best to get there.
What's the point of doing it if you don't have that?
Exactly.
You know, you're not a journeyman.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's important not to put too much pressure on the time frame or when you achieve it. Everyone will achieve at different times.
Yeah.
But you know, having those goals and having them in sight is important. If I make it in 10 years, cool. If I make it, 15. 50 is probably my max. I'm happy a bit too old to fight then. But
you don't want to be fighting for state champions when you're 65, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I think having those goals is important, but it's more important to remember why you do it.
Yeah.
Don't be too focused on, I think, becoming UFC champ.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, right? There's only, there's 12 champs or 13 champs in the UFC and stuff, so it's, you gotta love to do it, not be focused on getting an end result, right?
Yeah, and I think when it gets hard as well, like the idea of a belt, that's great, but it's not really gonna push you over the limit or push you where you need to be when you feel like shit.
Well, you tell yourself you're a champion, right? A belt just tells other people you're a champion.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you feel like a champion, you're a champion, right? The belt just tells other people you are. Okay, so Elite, you want to plug Strikeforce, Elite, is it Elite Garden?
Yeah, Elite Garden.
Who else are you sponsored
and
by?
Hard Knocks Fight Gear.
Hard Knocks Fight Gear. Shout out to all those companies.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Next fight, another fight booked yet?
Hopefully March. Yeah.
On what card?
I'm not sure yet, still waiting, but staying ready and staying
We'll
alert.
plug it once it gets locked in.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Diamond Diary. Thank you so much to our sponsor, Sea Dog Coffee in Burleigh. Great coffee, great ethical and sustainable coffee with a great vibe.